Welcome to Detroit. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass. You can drown them. And that's what we gotta be. That's who we have to be. Because that's our domain. That is our domain. Because we'll tread water as long as it takes to fucking bury you.
Takes the snap, turns, gives to Montgomery, right side, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions! Yes.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions, friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. Folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. If there is one thing that Lions fans, and I would say the entirety of the NFL can agree upon, it's that the Lions have the best weapon in the NFL. And it's not even close. You can say what you want about all the other really, really special players out there. Your Ja'Marr Chases, your Justin Jeffersons. You can say what you want about all those types of players. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Ain't nobody got a freaking handle. Ain't nobody come close to freaking Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm just going to say it right now. Ain't nobody got a close, second on Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, David, what about Jonathan Taylor with the Colts? He's playing really good right now. I don't know. No. I'm sorry. Let's understand something here very, very quickly when it comes to this episode. You can take a look at all the other running backs that are in the NFL. Seriously, take a look at all of them. There might be some right now that have got more yards on the ground than what Jahmyr Gibbs has, which is kind of hard to believe considering the fact he ran the ball for over 15 yards yesterday. But you have to understand something here. In this case, even though I'm a statistical wizard, I love looking up at stats and the comparative analysis of here. I'm just going to say this for the first time and probably one of the few times I ever do this. The stats don't really matter in this case. Because there are things that Jahmyr Gibbs does that you simply cannot put on a stat sheet. I'm sorry, you just can't put him on a stat sheet. Let's just call it for what it is. Jonathan Taylor and, other guys like Derrick Henry and, a couple of other really good running backs, they're really, really good at what they do. Top in the biz. But when it comes to the best in the biz, that's Jahmyr Gibbs. And it has not a damn thing to do with what his stat sheet says. It has everything to do with what the guy can do on any one particular play. Oh, sure, you have other running backs that have what I like to call and everyone else likes to call home run capabilities. But nobody has it like Jahmyr Gibbs does. Jahmyr Gibbs yesterday in that game against the Giants quite literally ripped off 3 or 4 of those runs that literally were for 30-plus yards, 40-plus yards, 60-plus yards. And it looked almost effortless for him. And you have to think about it here. That kind of weapon capability, that kind of speed, that danger level to a defense, you can't quantify that. You can't teach that. I don't care who you think you are. Gibbs is quite literally the best running back in the business because of the threat level that he puts on defenses. Defenses are absolutely scared to death of him. And you have to think about it here. There were a couple of plays yesterday in that game against the Giants where, Goff would throw the ball out of the backfield on a little swing pattern or a little flat pattern to Gibbs on the outside. And it's dude, within the next second or two, you literally saw 4 Giants literally right there to try and get him. You know what that tells me? That tells me that the Giants were so deathly afraid of Gibbs getting loose on one of those kinds of plays that they were going to make sure it didn't happen. Because they know that's what he can do. They're just afraid of him as far as a receiver as they are a runner. Because the Lions definitely tried several times yesterday to get him out of the backfield, set up screens, do the things that they know that he and only he can do. And the Giants were just not letting it happen. They refused to let it happen. They made sure that anytime they saw a screen getting set up and Gibbs was in, they were going to be right there, Johnny, on the spot. Because they know that the Lions want to do that, and they know that the Lions are one of the best teams at doing that. You set up a screen, you set up a swing pass for Gibbs, and he going to be gone. If not gone, he going to pick up at least 15, 20 yards before somebody catches him. And you have to think about it. Like, that is the danger element that these defenses that face us every single week know that Gibbs possesses. And every single week, it's the same thing. You have these teams that are literally stacking boxes. They are making sure that they have extra guys put in their defense to know exactly where Gibbs is at all times. You can say that about some other running backs earlier on in their career, like, oh yeah, you know what, when King Henry was like a couple of years younger, you know, people would stack the box and they'd have to freaking try and tackle him 4 or 5 bodies at a time. But the thing that King Henry never had that Gibbs has is the receiving element. You couldn't put King Henry out on a screen and expect him to go 60 yards and literally nothing. That's not part of his game. He can catch, sure, but not like what Gibbs can. Same thing could be said for Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's a better receiving element than Henry is, but he ain't Gibbs. That's the whole point, is that when you take a look at what Gibbs provides as a weapon, he is a 100% complete weapon. You can put him out as a receiver on the line. You can use him outside of the backfield as a running back on a screen or a swing play. You can put him in the gun as a running back. You can put him in the deep backfield as an I back or as a single back. Whatever the case might be, and Gibbs can literally play both styles of run. He can be both your outside zone speed back, or he can be your inside zone power back. Now, don't get me wrong there, he's much better as an outside zone speed back. But it's like, dude, we've seen him take some up the middle, and it's just like, he gone. He is like 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds flat. And it's just absolutely wild just watching this. And don't get me wrong here, it's like, you take a look at this stuff, and it's like, I still go back to when the Lions drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, and everybody thought Brad Holmes and the Lions were just off their damn rocker. They're like, dude, there's no way you draft a running back that high, which to me makes absolutely no sense because, freaking Bijan Robinson was drafted just ahead of him. And Bijan Robinson's a great running back, don't get me wrong, but he ain't Gibbs. He is not Gibbs. Gibbs has surpassed Bijan Robinson as the best running back in that class. It's not even close. And the reason I can say that is because it's like, listen, what makes Jahmyr Gibbs such a dangerous threat is not only what he himself can provide, which he can provide a hell of a lot. Just on his own, he makes defenses have to play him a way that nobody else gets played as far as a running back is concerned. I don't care if it's Bijan. I don't care if it's freaking King Henry. I don't care if it's Jonathan Taylor. I don't care who you try to call into that conversation. Jahmyr Gibbs is the best at what he does because of how he plays the game. And if you want to just think about it from this perspective, just take a look at the company that he's in right now as far as the statistics that he is putting up. I mean, for crying out loud, Jahmyr Gibbs has 44 touchdowns. If I recall correctly, 44 rushing touchdowns. It could be total, but I know it's 44. And he's not even 24 yet. He's literally got, 6 more games before he reaches that? And he only has to reach 3 more touchdowns to tie Barry Sanders' record of 47. Think about that. This guy has surpassed some of the best names in the business that have ever played the position. Emmitt Smith and a couple of others. Like, the only one that's left is the granddaddy of them all. The only one that's left is the best that's ever played the position, and that is Barry Sanders. Can you imagine what that will do to his street cred as far as the best running back in the business when he cracks that level? Because I'm going to tell you this right now. If he continues to get the touchdowns per game that he's getting, because it's like, dude, any given game, he can get easily 3 touchdowns. Whether it's 2 on the ground, whether it's 1 through the air, vice versa, who cares? The guy is just literally a touchdown generating machine because he is literally lightning in a bottle. He is a scoring play that is just literally waiting to happen. And I remember I was listening to, Jared Goff in the media session after the game yesterday, so the post-game, pressers, and he literally just hit it spot on. He's like, listen, defenses fear him. The way they play him, the way they try to match up against him, they fear him. And it's like, dude, when you take a look at what he can do, it's no small wonder why. But I'm just going to add this last little bit here. What really makes Jahmyr Gibbs the best in the business, and this is something that, you compile it with everything else that I've already talked about, as far as what he himself can provide, as far as what he himself can do. I know right now everyone's going to probably be like, this is a little bit off topic, off kilter because of the conversation that I'm about to have, but just bear with me here. The reason why Gibbs is as good as he is, other than the fact that, 60 to 70% of it is just what he himself can do, is you got to think about the rest of the offense here. Because I kind of look at where Jahmyr Gibbs is right now, and it's like, there's almost a slight parallelism, if you will, to where Barry Sanders was with the Lions in the 90s. Think about it. Jahmyr Gibbs is literally one of those pieces on an offense that, he can just make anything happen. He can literally make anything happen. And that is exactly what Barry could do for the Lions back in the 90s. But the problem with the Lions in the 90s is that they didn't have a quarterback like Jared Goff. Because, let's be honest here, the best quarterback that the Lions had in the 90s as far as, actually able to play the position was without doubt, in my opinion, Eric Kramer. The best one that they had as far as longevity was concerned was Scott Mitchell, but Scott Mitchell was literally only good for like 1 year. So it's like, okay, one thing that Jahmyr Gibbs has that Barry Sanders didn't have was an actually good elite quarterback. That's what Jared Goff provides. Now, the other thing that Jahmyr Gibbs has that freaking Barry Sanders didn't have was that he had more than just one weapon opposite of him as far as a skill position. Because Barry Sanders did have Herman Moore. And he also had a couple other guys, kind of rolled in there as well. But you have to think about it. The Lions have such an assortment of weapons here that it's like, listen, because of that, they can't just focus solely on Jahmyr Gibbs. They have to focus on other people. They have to make sure that Amon-Ra St. Brown is covered. They got to make sure Jameson Williams is covered. They got to make sure that all these other guys that normally would be out there, such as Sam Laporta, even though he's not playing right now. But it's like, listen, when you consider all those elements, it just makes his ability to be that much better, that much higher. I mean, you think about it, Jahmyr Gibbs is one of those guys that just on his own, he can elevate an offense 70% better than where it normally is because that's just what he does. And you also have to take into consideration this as well. Jahmyr Gibbs is doing this right now with an offensive line that is still struggling to figure out its blocking schemes up front as far as, overall. Yesterday they did a great job as far as the running blocks were concerned. But again, it's very hit or miss with that offensive line because they're still figuring stuff out. And yet that guy still yesterday ran for over, 200-something yards. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And then 2 weeks prior to that, he ran for over 140 yards. I mean, the guy just literally is a weapon that you can count on almost every single week to just pick you up absolutely crazy amount of yards and score you just absolutely insane amount of points. Both in real life and in fantasy. And I'm going to say this right now. I have him in fantasy, and I mean, I'm just happy as a clam. Because it's like, dude, I can literally just put him in there, and it's like, hey, I'm going to get at least 30-some points every freaking week. But that's my whole point, is that it's the consistency factor. It's the fact that, any given play, he can just literally take it to the house, and it's not even a question of a matter of when, it's a matter of if. Because every single game, there's going to be at least one or two of those where he's just going to bust loose, and it's like, he gone, and you ain't going to catch him. Because you have to think about it as well. His speed is unparalleled. There's very few other guys that can really match his speed. The only other guy that I can think of that realistically could match his speed right now in the NFL would probably be Jameson Williams. I would love to see those two go in a foot race just to see who's faster. But it's like, dude, when you see freaking Jahmyr Gibbs get out and loose into the third level of a defense, and it's just like, it don't matter what angle the damn safety takes. It don't matter how fast he runs. He's not going to catch him. I mean, the last play that the Lions ran offensively in overtime, which was the first play they ran offensively, freaking that safety's not slow, but he couldn't catch Gibbs. Gibbs literally had a step on him and he was gone. I mean, that's the danger element that the freaking defenses have when it comes to playing against Gibbs. You simply cannot let him find a little crease. You can't let him find a sliver of daylight. Kind of goes back to what Gale Sayers used to say for the Chicago Bears. Give me 18 inches of daylight. That's all I need. I mean, that's literally the same thing here. It's like you give Gibbs a little crease, and he's off to the races. It's that simple. And to me, it's like, because of that danger element to defenses, that's what makes Gibbs the best in the business. Because it's like, listen, defenses are having to game plan against him in a way that nobody else is getting game planned against. And the best part is even though they game plan against him, they still can't stop him. Think about it. There's only been like 1 or 2 games this year where Gibbs has really been bottled up. And again, I attribute that more to the offensive line just not doing its job, which, considering the entire course of the year, that is a pretty valid assessment in my opinion. But the fact that Gibbs is continually doing this week in, week out almost, it's just like, dude, it's almost become second nature. And that's the danger element that what I'm talking about it totally encompasses when it comes to these NFL defenses and defensive coordinators, because it's like they know what they're going up against and they still can't stop it 90% of the time. Just like what I'm saying, I mean, you call me crazy, but it's like, you take a look at the film, you take a look at the highlights, it doesn't lie. But anyway, folks, I just had to talk about this because, I mean, when you talk about what Gibbs has been doing lately, I mean, I don't give a damn what anyone says. He is the best running back in the NFL, bar none. But anyway, folks, I've said my piece, so I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching at another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do this, like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you not yet had a chance to do so, I want to highly encourage y'all, make sure you hit that bell notification icon so you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope y'all got some in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. Excuse me. God bless. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.